Everybody, so we'll get rolling and we'll turn it over to Dave as people are starting to come in. Thanks for coming to Virtual Campfire with or without toasted marshmallows today. Um, Dave's gonna have to get a s'more kit in the mail. I think that's what we'll work on here, right?
We're done.
But
That's where I'm heading.
so thanks for coming. This series of virtual campfires, first one today, we're going to be doing these weekly. So next week I'll be leading campfire, and part of the idea is to make this somewhat like the masterminds that we're doing on a weekly basis so that people can get a flavor for those masterminds, but also for all my current clients and friends that I can invite experts in like Dave to come and work on a topic like as you'll hear, sales management, sales leadership, building a sales force. I think you all know because I've talked about it. Dave is the author of Baseline Selling, and if you go to his blog, Understanding the Sales Force, he talks about baseball often, and but uses that analogy to really understand the nature of moving a prospect from the early stages to closed and happy and all those things. So yeah, so next week I'll do the virtual campfire, and then in a couple weeks, actually Wes Gaiman is here. He's our in-house website building SEO guy, and he'll be doing an audit of a handful of people's websites and digital properties to give them some ideas for what they can improve. One thing to tell you up front is we are going to record this, just so you're aware, if you're being here, that we're going to put this out and publish it so other people can hear what Dave says. But what's important about this is it's going to be very relevant to business builders because you're going to ask some of the questions and you're going to help guide the wisdom that Dave shares. So with that, Dave, thanks for joining us. Thanks for being here. And absolutely, yeah, if you give us just a little bit of like an idea of what are the things people can ask you questions about, that would be great. And if y'all could use you can either wave to raise your hand or the virtual hand. Will both of those are good.
Thanks, Wayne. Thanks for thinking of me. Thanks for inviting me. Thanks for not telling me about the marshmallows that wouldn't be here. Um, I like starting with a Q&A because then I can talk for the better part of an hour about things that you want to know about instead of arbitrarily deciding what I'm going to talk about, which might not apply to anybody, and then having you ask questions about what I said that you didn't care about. So, sales is the big umbrella for today, and we can knock that down in a couple of subcategories, which would be selling, sales leadership, sales management, and we could knock those down into some categories. I'm happy to answer any questions or concerns about finding new business, cold calling, discovery calls, qualifying, closing, building relationships, managing existing accounts on the sales management side, coaching, hiring, holding salespeople accountable, keeping salespeople motivated on the sales leadership side, strategy, compensation, account planning, um, sales planning, CRM, sales process. So if it touches sales, I'm all in. And if you've got an issue that you're working on or that you think you'll be working on, something that's been frustrating you, something that's been challenging for you, something that you haven't figured out yet, something you're just wondering about, ask away. There isn't a question you can ask me that I don't think I can answer because we've worked with clients in 200 different industries, everything from goose shooters to cow chippers, everything from SaaS to industrial distribution, everything from finance to manufacturing. You name it, I've got a client that sold it. So let's open it up and let's find out what you'd like to talk about today.
Kane, you're up. You said all that, but you also raised the your hand there, so go for it.
Yeah, so all that sounds good. Dave, if we could get all that done by 1 in alphabetical order, I think it would be best for
We
everybody.
could be done in
Yeah.
5 minutes.
Even better. The first question that comes to my mind is talk, please, a little bit about the difference between sales leadership and sales management.
That's a great topic, and I'd be happy to talk about that. Wayne, would you prefer that I answer the questions as they come up, or do you want me to collect a bunch of questions and then talk?
I think that's good. The way you jotted it down. We'll collect some questions, a handful, and then start answering them. That'd be great.
Okay. Kane, you'll be first up when we move to answering. Now, if you guys ask enough questions, we can spend an hour just taking your questions and not answer anything, and that would be fun. We'll need more marshmallows at the end to make up for it. Who else?
Tia, and
So
then Tom.
one of the things that I'm struggling with right now, I'm new in my company. I've been here for 7 months, and we are a consulting firm specifically in the healthcare finance space with a very niche audience that we're trying to attract. They're the federally qualified health centers. And what I'm struggling with right now is trying to identify who really should be on our sales team. It has primarily been at the leadership level, but then we also have sort of the breadth of all of our consultants, which are really our technical experts. And we have a lot of them doing different aspects of sales. What is your best advice on how to narrow our focus and really identify who is like going to be our best sales team? So I'm the sales and marketing director, and I'm now being tasked with how do we figure out who this strong sales team is going to be and what will that structure look like?
That's a great question. Can't wait to dig into that one. Okay.
Tom
Next.
Garrity.
Yeah. Hi, Dave. Nice to
Hi,
meet you.
Tom.
Thanks for being here.
Nice to meet you too.
We're a family business consulting firm, and a lot of our referrals, most of our business comes through referral, both the client, of course, and then our circle of influence. So, CPAs and bankers and management consultants and marketing consultants, etc. People that already touch our clients somehow. And we struggle with the mindset goes to, I don't know anybody that's a real mess that I should refer to you, or how would I ever talk to them about that? And yeah, well, first of all, anybody that's in a family, you have challenges. So it doesn't need to be a family business. It's just people and the challenges of that. The family business makes it a little more complicated. It's having the conversation with our CEOs to how they would have a conversation to say, in recognizing whether it's a growth problem or succession, or maybe it is family dynamics. Hey, we're working with a firm, or we know a firm. I think they would be somebody for you to talk to. We just haven't cracked that code of the language to help them have the conversation with the prospect. And then once we're in front of them, then we're not great, but we're pretty darn good.
You're good. It's good enough.
Wayne's coached us a lot there. This is a piece that we still struggle with.
Okay. Looking forward to digging into that too.
Brenda.
Hi, I'm a big fan of Wayne, so I'm here because I love to learn. And I'm coming from the perspective of I own a yoga studio and leading the teachers at the studio to sell and promote without feeling like they're selling.
I love that. Okay. Selling without selling.
Yeah.
All right. That's fair.
Jamie.
My question is similar in a sense. I own a funeral home, and we're meeting with families that are, emotionally vulnerable, and we're very conscious of that and don't want to be, I don't know if, salespeople is the right term, but we don't want to be too pushy, and we're making recommendations as opposed to maybe any type of sales skills that our team would have. Any advice for any adjustments to whatever the normal sales process would be to bring that into play.
Love that. And I missed your first name, and it only has the funeral home name showing up on the screen.
Oh, I'm sorry, Jamie.
Jamie.
It's
Thank you.
Jamie. Thank you.
Okay. That'll be fun to dig into too. Maybe we can sell yoga services to grieving families.
Andy.
Hey everybody, Andy Richardson. I'm a structural engineer, and actually one of the first sales books I ever read was Baseline Selling. Just
How cool is that? Read one, you didn't have to read any more after that.
so it's a great resource, and so it's a
Thank you.
big honor to be here. But one of the questions I have is strategy question, in terms of we're practitioners, we're engineers, and we're also trying to get more work, including myself and including my team, my assistant. So trying to get some strategy around that and how to help them, you know, get more work as well. Basically, be seller doers, if you will, and get some strategy around, how do we identify good markets and not just go after everything at one time. So that's some of the questions I have.
Perfect. We'll do that.
John and then Loretta.
Hey, I'm John Corrales. Thanks for
Hey,
having
John,
me
nice
talk.
to meet you.
Yeah, great to meet you. My question is very similar to Andy's actually because I feel like my sales approach is too scattered. Um, I get a good idea and I'm like, yeah, let's do that. And I send a cold email and I either get ghosted or maybe like don't meet the decision maker. And then
Can't believe that. You're sending a
who knows?
cold email and getting ghosted?
Can't believe it. I know.
Whoever heard of such a thing?
Not me, not me. Um, but then I had this discussion with a friend on the call, Scott Coland, yesterday, and like my dream is to replicate my mega client, but my mega client is a big healthcare provider, and the sell-in process takes like so long. Um,
How long is so long?
I mean, I I have tenuous connections with a similar mega client, and I've almost had lunch with them maybe like once in the last 6 months. So it's just hard to get on their radar. It feels like, even though I'm doing something that I think they
So,
could
so
benefit
what's the
from.
long part? Getting the lunch meeting, or once you've had the lunch meeting, getting them signed?
I think for me, because I'm an owner operator and I don't have a sales team, I am the sales team. I'm also just bogged down in the day to day of actually editing the videos, actually cutting the invoices, making sure that everyone knows where to show up to film. So um, it's hard to also be the salesperson, I guess. So that's what's taking long.
Okay, so just so I have an idea. So you said it takes a long time to land a mega client or a dream client or a wish list client, but it's really just you getting a lunch meeting that takes a long time.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay, we can do that.
Loretta and Joe, and then maybe we'll pause there.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Loretta Andrews, Graphic Communications.
Hi, Loretta.
How you doing?
Thank you.
So my question is, and like John, I'm somewhat of an owner operator. We have a manufacturing company. We print pressure sensitive labels. So my question is around like prospecting and top of funnel activity. And I know that, it seems that the way is to reach out to people on LinkedIn and build trust and all that, but I just feel like it's so tedious, and I just feel like everybody's drinking the Kool-Aid about LinkedIn. Is it me, or is it just that's the way it is?
Yeah, it's you. You're the
Okay.
only
All
one.
right. Well, at least I
Everyone
know
else
now.
has it figured out.
So
Okay,
that's
we can talk about that.
Joe.
Hi, Dave. Thank you
Fremont.
for being here.
You're welcome, Joe.
My name's Joe Fremont. I'm from Legacy Planning. We're a group of financial planners, specifically working with business owners. We call ourselves the BOAT, Business Owner Advisory Team. Um, what we're doing a pretty good job getting some referrals in. We're mainly referral and word of mouth based, but something that keeps going in, it's a drag in creating urgency on the back end. So we'll have someone come in, they'll commit to a plan. I'm not trying to call anybody out here on the call, but creating that sense of urgency to get us their information so that we can be beginning the process. So thanks, buddy.
All right. And is there any urgency to talk about that today, or can we do that maybe next month?
We could do that next time if that's okay. Yeah, that's fine.
So you understand.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, you got me there.
Okay, so your problem
Good.
solved.
All
Stop
right.
understanding. We'll talk about it seriously. I don't mean to make light of everything, just most of the stuff. So
So I raised my hand, Dave, and Loretta hit it. I was going to ask you to make sure you talk about prospecting in 2025 and top of funnel, but everybody's probably interested in that. You mentioned cold calling, which I could imagine, of course, things go through our head. One thing's like cold calling is dead, doesn't work anymore. Nobody answers their phone. Plus, it scares me. So anything about that is good. And the other, I'm probably a Captain Obvious statement, but one of the things I told some of you leading up to this is Dave is like the best consultative salesperson I've ever been around and witnessed and observed. And it's really fun to just listen to him asking you questions. And there's so much to be learned by the way that he's kind of playing and keeps it light, but yet he takes you this way or that. He's trying to understand and dig deeper. So I'm enjoying already listening, and I'll have to listen back again to how you even just went through these first questions. So
you know, based on the number of people that mention finding new business in one form or another, whether it's getting referrals from their centers of influence or from their existing customers, or reaching out over LinkedIn, or sending cold emails, or making cold calls, there were probably 6 of you that at least touched on that a little bit. So that might be the most popular topic for the group. So maybe we should start there, because nothing starts until we have a prospect. So cold calls versus cold emails versus LinkedIn versus referrals versus introductions. There isn't one thing that you should focus on. I mean, the thing that seems most comfortable to people, especially owner operators, subject matter experts, you didn't sign up to be in sales. You signed up to do the business you're doing, and you found out that you had to sell. Otherwise, you wouldn't be in business anymore. So the thing that seems most comfortable is sending out that cold email, because they can't hang up on you and they can't tell you to your face they're not interested. Um, but it's also one of the absolute least effective things you could possibly do to waste your time, is sending out cold emails. And the same goes for the cold messages on LinkedIn. I mean, between the two, and I don't know about all of you, but I probably get on any given day, I'm probably getting 5 to 15 cold, horrible, AI generated, ridiculously personalized attempts to reach out to me on LinkedIn. And I probably get 20 or 30 unsolicited, cold, absolute piece of shit emails in my inbox and in my junk folder. I can pretty much tell you those are just going to get deleted, whether it's LinkedIn or email. You're wasting your time if you're just sending unsolicited messages to people. You want to connect with them on LinkedIn? Send a request to connect. You want to reach out a little later and you have a good reason to talk to them, a good reason being something that they would consider a good reason, not something that you would consider a good reason, go ahead. But the things that I absolutely hate are the requests to connect, which are followed up within a minute and a half of a request for a meeting. I mean, how did we get from let's connect on LinkedIn to we should be meeting in a minute and a half without having some kind of conversation in the middle? So, people don't like that stuff. Now, cold calling. People hate to cold call. Sale, pure salespeople. And I didn't hear that there's a whole bunch of you on this campfire that are pure salespeople. I heard business owners, owner operators, founders, sales leaders. I didn't hear a salesperson. So even salespeople mostly hate the cold call. Although if you were to poll the top 5% of all salespeople, they will tell you they love it. They absolutely love cold calling. Now, in some companies, especially tech companies like selling software as a service, they'll have a team of BDRs, business development reps, and that team will make appointments for the salespeople. But the best salespeople won't take those meetings. They want to make their own. They don't want to go on some meeting that some young, inexperienced BDR made for them and waste their time. They'd rather make that call themselves, have that conversation themselves, identify an issue they could help with themselves, and then go on that call. So, and let's also talk about the centers of influence, which is basically networking. Uh, I mean, that's the best, right? Getting an introduction from a center of influence or someone in your network, but you have no control over that. I mean, it might take a year before you get the first introduction, maybe 2 years. My blog, Understanding the Salesforce, which Wayne mentioned, that's kind of the same. I've been writing on that blog for 20 years. And I still get people calling, emailing, messaging me saying, I've been reading your blog for 13 years and I finally need your help. I mean, 13 freaking years before they reached out. That's a long time. But a lot of it is just practical sense and having to stay with it. And it's the same with your network. Knowing that you have no control over when you might get an introduction, knowing that you have no control over whether you timed it right and delivered the right message to somebody's inbox or LinkedIn message account that would cause them to want to talk to you. Knowing that you can't control any of that stuff, doing the thing that you most hate doing is the one thing you can control, which is picking up the phone and making a cold call. Um, that doesn't sound very exciting. And I'll be the first to admit cold calling is demotivating, it's miserable, it wastes a lot of time. Uh, it's not a lot of fun, but you can control it. You can control the number of times you push dial. You can control the number of attempts you make. You have some control over the number of conversations you can have in a day. I mean, if you go into it saying I'm going to have to make 15 attempts to talk to one person, and I'm not going to stop until I've talked to 5 people today, you have some control over that as long as you're willing to keep trying until you've had 5 conversations. And then if your messaging is good and your delivery of that messaging is good, you can turn those 5 conversations into a meeting. And that's the most direct, most impactful, most powerful thing that you can do, that you can control, that would lead to new meetings. I'm not going to try and tell you you're going to like it. I'm not even going to tell you you're going to be good at it. But that's the thing you can do to get meetings. And since a lot of you mentioned top of the funnel, um, that would be my advice for top of the funnel. A bad cold call is going to be better than the best emails and LinkedIn messages that you can blindly send out and get deleted, because you're not going to hear back from 99 out of 100 people you send those things to, unless you just timed it perfectly and the message is just right and you didn't screw up the personalization and make it sound creepy. Most of them are going to get deleted. So we'll start there. Ask me some follow-up questions about that. I know it's not what you wanted to hear. I know I didn't make it easy. I know it doesn't sound like fun, but that's the truth. And all I
Hello,
can do is
John.
deliver one truth bomb after another. What's up, John?
What are your strategies for effective cold calls if they're the best thing that we can kind of control?
Good question. So, believe it or not, there are two things that are really crucial to a call, whether it's cold or warm. And by the way, referrals that you might get from people you know, from customers, from clients, from people, those are cold calls too. You just feel better about making them. But they don't know you. So if they don't know you, and they don't know you're calling, it's still a cold call. So you're still going to have to do the same thing on the phone when you get through, which is sound like somebody they're going to want to talk to. So that's the first thing. How do you sound? Do you sound engaging? Do you sound warm? Do you sound like you care? Um, Hopefully, and I know one of you said without sounding like a salesperson. I think it was Brenda. Um, You don't want to sound like a salesperson. You want to sound like a person. You want to sound like a human who just sounds like it'll be fun and enjoyable and nice to talk to. So that means you can't sound like a robot. It means you can't sound anal. It means you can't be abrasive. You can't be mousy. Just have a nice conversation like you'd have with a friend. And that's the best advice I can give you on how to sound. As far as your messaging, we certainly don't have time to get the messaging nailed down in 32 minutes and cover everybody else's issues. But if I could direct you to the book, Baseline Selling, there's a whole chapter on getting the messaging right. We call them positioning statements. And specifically, the first 10 seconds of that positioning statement is the 10 seconds that would matter the most. What business are you in, John?
I'm in photo and video.
Photo and video. Who would care about that?
People who want to appear professional and dynamic online.
Okay. And are there people like that?
Yes.
Who?
Well, healthcare is my biggest client.
Wes is
Um,
raising his hand like me.
yeah. Basically anyone who makes sales online wants to appear look good online.
Okay. So if I were making a cold call for you, knowing nothing other than what you just told me, do you want to role play it real quick? Because we're only
Yeah,
going to do
sure.
it once. And the recorder's going, so I'm sure if you ask nice, Wayne will send it out to everybody. You're going to have to pick up the phone, though. We can't role play
All
it
right.
going to voicemail.
Here we go. You got it. Got the phone.
Okay, answer.
Hello, this is John.
Hi, John. It's Dave Kurlan.
Hi, Dave. Do we know each other?
Doesn't sound like you know me.
Oh, wait, sorry. I'm making the phone call.
No, I made it.
Okay. Oh, you made it. No,
Yeah.
I guess we don't know each
See, I
other.
already have him messed up because I didn't go into a sales pitch. I just gave him a second to react, and that's how he reacted. It doesn't sound like you know who I am, and it certainly doesn't sound like you were expecting my call. Can I take 10 seconds and tell you why I called?
I mean, sure, Dave, go ahead.
If 10 seconds is going to be a problem, I can call back.
No, now's good.
Okay. I help people who have an online presence leverage their online presence by looking better and sounding better in professional video. Do you have an online presence?
I do actually, yeah.
And what's the biggest frustration you have with yourself online in video?
Well, I just feel like if people really knew who I was and what I did, they'd be lining up to buy from me. But I'm doing a bad job at telling my own story, and that's why I'm really frustrated. But I can't take the time to tell that story because I'm so busy that I need a quarterback to do that for me, but I just don't know who to trust.
Sounds like a problem.
Big problem.
Do you want to fix it?
Yeah, I want to spend like $40,000 to fix it.
That would be it. And of course, the person on the other end of the phone is not going to be as forthcoming as you just were.
Yeah.
They're not going to be as honest as you just were. And it'll be a little harder than it was with you, but that's the gist of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Makes sense.
Okay. Let's go back to the beginning. And Kane, who wanted to know what is the difference between sales leadership and sales management? Where are you, Kane? You still
He's
here?
still here. I think his camera. Can you mute, Kane? You there?
That camera's not on. Okay. Until he says he's here, we'll skip over that topic.
Okay.
I don't want to do his topic if he's taking a break. So then we had Tia, and she wants to know who are the right salespeople that we should have on the team. There you are, Tia. Am I pronouncing it right? Okay. So you're new, right? Have you been there long enough to have a sense of what gets in the way of salespeople succeeding? What the challenges are that come up repeatedly that they don't seem to be able to handle?
Yeah, I think right now we have too many cooks in our sales kitchen is problem number one. So I think that there's just an overall ownership and accountability problem. And because it's not their primary role when they get busy servicing their clients, sales will fall off the radar. Typical, totally understandable. I get that. So right now we're really starting to identify like we have to reduce the number of people that are involved, but trying to figure out the who is where, I'm struggling a little bit and identifying, and then exactly what will that structure kind of look like? Is there one primary person or do we have a couple? I mean, it's a fairly large organization with a decent amount of leads that are coming in. So I think we don't have one person currently that could handle this, and we're not looking to hire somebody to own it right now. We want to utilize our current team.
And the
Um,
current team are subject matter experts, I suppose,
yeah,
people.
yeah. And we have,
Okay.
I definitely have some people that are naturals, right? I can see the naturals, the people who have that natural selling ability, but they're not necessarily all the people that are involved or the primary points of contact right now.
So are you selling something that these federally qualified health centers are already buying?
Yes.
Okay. And who do you need to call on by title in those health centers?
Typically it is the CEO or like a CFO or
C-suite.
yeah, C-suite or like an operations director type of role. Yeah.
And what differentiates your business from the competition?
A couple things. I would say, we're solely specialized really in these FQHCs and been doing it for over 25 years, as well as the consultants that would work with them have worked in health centers before in leadership roles. So they really have like a very deep understanding of the unique differences between them versus like traditional healthcare. Um, so I would say those are the big things. And then pricing. We do know that we are less expensive than a lot of our competition as well.
Well, it would seem with the last three things you gave me, specialized, the consultants come from their world, and you're less expensive, that you should be able to close every health center that you call on.
Yeah, I mean, when we talk to people, and our actual like closing is pretty good, overall, like the rate of closing is pretty good, but it's taking longer than we would like. So,
How
our
long would you like?
well, I would say if we can get our sales process under 20 days, that would be ideal. Right now, we're definitely hitting like 30 to 45 on average.
20 days is pretty short.
Yeah.
30 to 45 days isn't that long. What impact does that extra week to 3 weeks have on your business?
I think it just keeps us more focused, and getting those deals moved more consistently through the process. So I think there's a lot of deals out there. People kind of lose track. We lose the urgency.
And what is the average health center worth in terms of annual billings?
Um, I don't know that for sure off the top of my head, but I'm going to estimate 25 to 30 would be a good average. But I mean, it sort of swings the gamut. We could have some clients that spend a couple thousand, and we could have some that spend 200,000, but if I had to average it right now, I'd say probably in that 25 to 30,000.
Well, it seems to me that with these subject matter expert consultants who came from that world, selling a service that you specialize in, that you offer for less than your competition, that is exactly who you should have on your sales team. The only question is whether or not they're getting to the C-suite. They're getting to the C-suite, then I don't know what you could do to shorten that sales cycle except go to who was it that said urgency?
Don't worry, Suzanne.
Joe. Okay. So it sounds more like an urgency issue in terms of shortening the sales.
And I think internally, part of the challenge, again, I'm still new, so I'm still sort of learning the team and all the different players here. It's the people that we have selling are also our best consultants, right? They are our CFO level consultants. So they can have the conversation, they can get deep, they understand it, but then they're also the people we want on the business. And so it's that, like, how do we figure out
They're
how
in
to
a hybrid
balance
role.
that?
And if
Yeah, they are.
and
Yeah.
with a hybrid role, if they get really busy with the consulting, then they're no longer doing any selling,
Right.
which means
Exactly.
ultimately you're going to need salespeople,
Yeah.
dedicated salespeople. And who you should go out and look for are people just like your consultants. In other words, they have had success calling on the C-suite of health centers or hospitals or practices, anything related, but they've called on the C-suite. They've sold in a fairly short sales cycle a product that was competitively or lower priced than the competition that had an advantage to it. The only difference is they just did sales, they didn't do the consulting, and your consultants would do the business. This goes for everybody. When you're hiring salespeople, you got to find people who've already done what you need done before. Most companies default to industry experience. It's not about industry experience. That has nothing to do with anybody's success. It's audience experience. People who have already had success calling on the people you need to call on, selling something similarly priced with similar price points compared to the competition in a similar length of sales cycle. And when you find people who've already done that, they can just as easily do that for you as they did for whoever they did it for before. Kane is back. Kane, sales leadership versus sales management. What do you want to know about that?
I like in my company, we don't have any sales management. We have some sales people, and we have two different types of sales people, and then we have some sales leadership, I think. I would that's how I would describe what we do now.
You said you think, you're not sure?
Yeah, I'm not sure. It's fuzzy how we're set up and how we operate. And we're paying a lot more attention to it than we ever have.
Okay. Well, the biggest difference between sales management and sales leadership is that sales management is tactical. So that's a sales manager rolling up their sleeves, getting out in the field, getting on the phone, sitting in the office, and coaching their salespeople to succeed, coaching them up. Sales leadership is more strategic. So they're going to be more concerned with systems, processes, plans, strategies, and sales managers report to sales leaders. So in a typical company, if it's big enough to have a sales leader, there would be sales managers, and each sales manager would have 6 to 8 salespeople. In a smaller company, if you're torn between do we hire a sales manager or a VP of sales? Well, if it's just going to be that one person, doesn't matter what they are, they're going to have to do both. They're going to have to be able to do strategy and tactics. But you want it to be a sales manager because a sales leader will cost you $250,000 to $500,000, and a sales manager will cost you $125,000 to $175,000. So for economic reasons, you'd want it to be a sales manager who could think like a sales leader.
How much do assistant sales managers make?
I never heard of an assistant sales manager.
Okay. It sounds like I could probably more afford that.
Well, in a small company like yours, the sales manager also has to sell. So, I mean, if you've got a couple of salespeople, they're not going to sit around just so that they can coach 2 salespeople every day at half hour each. And what are they going to do with the other 7 hours of their day? And they can have lunch one of those hours. That leaves 6. So with that 6 hours, they've got to be able to sell. So they're a selling sales manager and they pay for themselves.
Okay.
Does that help?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Okay. Let's see what to pick next. Let's do that urgency question. That was Joe, right?
Yep.
Okay. So we know that you lack urgency, but
Yeah.
we're talking about potential clients that lack urgency to take the next step.
Hmm.
Now, what is that next step? Is it to get you something?
Correct. Yeah, we asked for a fact finder, basically a lot of homework on getting personal and financial information together.
Okay. Now, at what point does this homework happen?
After the introduction meeting, after the agreement for the plan, so they sign a document saying we agree to do the plan, they'll pay that first fee, and then we send the fact finder.
Okay. And what usually happens?
They say that they're working on it. They'll send me a couple emails if I follow up, and then it'll kind of drop off.
Okay, because it's homework and nobody
You got
wants
it.
homework. Is there
Yeah.
another way?
By another way, you mean another way to get the information?
Mm-hmm.
Probably if we use maybe some technology to link some things, we'd probably have to look into that.
That's even worse homework for most people.
Yeah, probably.
Okay. So you probably need to add a step to your process.
Okay.
You probably need to make the homework a bigger deal,
Okay.
not a lesser deal, and not diminish it or discount it, but make it front and center. Our ability to help you is entirely dependent on your ability to collaborate with us, communicate with us, respond to us, and do it all on a timely basis.
Okay.
Are you able to do that?
Yeah, if I harden up maybe a little bit, yeah, and have a little bit more of a background.
I'm making you the client now, and I'm basically
Okay.
telling you what needs to happen. I'm going to follow up with, are you able to do that?
Yeah, Dave, but I'm really busy. I got a lot going on in my home life. I don't know if I can get to it right now.
And let's not work together.
Hmm.
How badly do you want the help?
Pretty bad.
How badly do you want my help?
I don't have your expertise, so I need it.
Then you got to prioritize it.
Hmm.
I'm not asking you to take away from family time, but maybe you'll need to stay up a little later and do this for me. Maybe you'll need to get up earlier and do this for me. Maybe you'll need to do it at lunchtime, but I can't help you until you provide me with what I need to help you. So, how do we make this a priority for you?
It's great. Thank you.
You sure that helped?
Um, I think so.
Why do you think
Increasingly,
so?
it's a shift in perspective, right? Instead of being soft on it, being, identifying the issue more and being harder, pushing for it more, creating that urgency.
I didn't push for anything,
Okay.
okay? Because I offered to not work with you.
Right.
So that's hardly me pushing. I
Right.
pulled. There's a difference between pushing and pulling. And I asked if it would be okay. I asked if you could do it. So I said what would need to happen in order for us to be able to help you. I
Hmm.
asked if you could do that. You gave me your usual, I'm really busy, right? And I said, well, then maybe we shouldn't work together. How badly
Hmm.
do you want the help? You said badly. How badly do you want my help? Badly. Well, in order for me to help you, I need this. So
Right.
I don't want to take away from your family time, but maybe you have to stay up a little later. Maybe you have to get up a little earlier. Maybe you have to do it at lunchtime. But you need to do this. You need to prioritize this. How can I get you to prioritize it? So it's a conversation about what you need as opposed to just telling them you need this and leaving it open-ended.
All
So
right.
you get a commitment to it with a deadline.
Mm.
So Joe, today's Wednesday. If I said I need this back by Friday, would you be able to do that?
If I put my head down and did it, yeah, I could.
You just gave me another condition. So can you put your head down and commit to it
Yes. Yeah.
by Friday?
By Friday.
Okay. So the longer lead time you give them, the longer they have to not do anything.
Correct.
So that's why I just went 48 hours. And if you want something done, you give it to a busy person to do it. So the fact that they're busy doesn't scare me,
Right.
doesn't bother me. Busy people know how to find time to do more stuff. So don't, the problem was you understood. I know that from earlier in our session today.
Right.
You've got to stop understanding them being too busy to give you what you need. Because
Okay.
what you need is just as important as what they need.
Got it.
Did that help?
A lot. Thank you.
You're welcome. Um, so we've got 10 minutes left and a few topics left. Does anybody have any questions that have come up based on what we've already talked about? Okay.
Yoga,
Selling with
yeah, yeah. I say yoga and funerals.
okay, right. Yoga and funerals and selling without sounding like you're selling, but Andy has his hand up.
Yeah, I
Andy.
guess when you did the cold call earlier, the I forgot what you call it, like role play. Um, you, I actually wanted to ask you about that because um, I guess just saying like, hey, it's Dave Kurlan, right? And that always felt awkward for me because I clearly don't know the guy, or know the person. So I'm not sure exactly how to frame the question other than the introduction felt a little bit awkward to do that. So I don't know, maybe you could respond to that.
Sure, I can respond to that. Um, it's okay if it feels awkward.
Mm-hmm.
You guys aren't professional salespeople. So it's all gonna seem awkward. But just introducing yourself by saying your name isn't awkward. It's the pause that feels awkward to you. It's waiting for them to respond and not knowing how they're going to respond, if they're going to respond, what their response is going to sound like. That's the part that feels awkward because you call people all day long for other reasons and say, "Hi, it's Andy." So this is no different than that. Just calling someone you don't know, hoping you might be able to get them interested in what you have. You're still starting the call the same way. You're still saying, "Hi, it's Andy." But it's that pause. See, if you had 25 seconds worth of words to follow the pause without having to pause, it wouldn't be so awkward. It's the pause that freaks people out. What if they don't want to talk to me? What if they're too busy? What if they hang up on me? What if they say they don't know me? What if they say, "What do you want?" What if they say, "I'm busy right now"? Okay, then they say those things. You know, like I said, not going to make it easier, not going to mean you're going to like it. It's not going to mean you're going to have fun. But if you want some control over finding some new business at the top of the funnel, um, this is the one thing you can control. It's okay if it feels awkward. I mean, there are a lot of things that we can do in life that feel awkward the first few times we do it. And I didn't take up golf until I was 50 because I thought all of the people who were asking me to golf with them were stupid, making a big deal out of swinging at a ball that was just sitting at their feet. What a stupid game. I played baseball, damn it. And that ball was traveling, you know, 85 miles an hour. And I had to square up a bat with that ball. And this ball's just sitting there at my feet. What challenge could there be in that? Oh, I tried playing golf and couldn't hit it. Then it became a challenge. That was awkward for a year. It's still awkward. I get into shots that I don't know what to do and don't have any confidence and pretty sure I'm gonna screw the shot up. That's awkward. It's not stopping me from doing it. It's just awkward. The swing doesn't feel natural. The sight line doesn't feel natural. The club I'm swinging doesn't feel natural. The result I'm gonna get doesn't feel natural. It's all awkward, but I'm there to play golf, so I will swing at the ball and see what happens. And 8 out of 10 times, that shot's gonna suck. It's awkward, but it's still gonna do it. And making a cold call is very much like taking that awkward golf swing. If you're not a great golfer. I don't know if that helps, but that's the only way I can put it.
Yeah, that's good feedback. Thank you for.
Welcome. So I think we'll finish with how to sell without sounding like a salesperson in funerals and yoga. So, what makes someone sound like a salesperson? What is it that you recognize from someone who's selling to you that makes them sound like a salesperson?
Brenda unmuted. Just be ready.
I don't know why I unmuted. This is so awkward. No, just kidding. Um, I mean, I think for me, in the space that I'm working in with the teachers that I'm working with, they don't see any of this as sales, and I see all of it as sales. And so they're not wearing a hat of a salesperson. They're teaching people how to breathe and they're teaching people how to be in their bodies and take pauses. And I need them to promote what they're doing because each one of their classes is like their own business. You know, people come for them, and they feel, and I'm primarily women that are teaching, they feel weird about promoting what they're doing. They feel
Awkward.
awkward. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the theme of it. Yeah, a lot of people don't like promoting themselves or talking about themselves or blowing their own horn. So the best thing that they could do is say to the group, and this would be to the group, right? Because they want to encourage the people in their group to either sign up for more classes or tell their friends all about it. The best thing they can do is say, this is really awkward for me. I need to spend a minute to talk about some of the other classes we offer and I offer, and give you a reason to tell your friends about your experience here. But that's awkward for me because I'm a yoga instructor. I'm not a salesperson, so I don't even know how to do this the right way. But are you all okay if I take a minute and do it? That would be how they would do it without sounding like a
Yeah.
salesperson and feeling awkward. Just tell the class that they feel awkward.
I love that. Thank you so much.
For grieving families in a funeral home, it wouldn't be quite like telling people that they feel awkward. Um, there is the issue getting them to do their funeral with you instead of with a different funeral home? Is it an upselling issue where you're trying to get them from Model B to Model C?
It's more it seems like, as I'm sitting here thinking about it, it seems like possibly like a believing in the product or worrying about families spending more, almost like an assumption that they don't want to spend more from some of our team. Because what we do is we do some questioning and listening. Based on those answers that they provide to us, we make recommendations. So maybe it's a missed opportunity for a veteran to not have a particular service that would be meaningful to the family, but some of the team may not want to recommend that because they think that maybe they're spending too much money.
So it's a money
So maybe that's
concept
just an
problem.
assumption thing. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
there's something that we call money tolerance. That's how much money the, in this case, salesperson thinks is a lot of money. And anything over that amount, they struggle with it. It's their choking point. It has nothing to do with reality and what an appropriate amount of money is for the grieving family. It's just what they're comfortable with. Like they wouldn't spend more than this amount, or they're not comfortable asking for more than this amount. Doesn't mean they shouldn't ask. So it's back to awkward, right?
Yeah.
And
Are we on track with, questioning and listening and then making the recommendations?
yeah. I think what I would do is I would want to know what the family was thinking in terms of the kind of funeral that they want to have for the loved one that passed, and what kind of funeral the loved one that passed might have asked for. And are we thinking something really special? Are we thinking just enough to make it look like we weren't cheap? Are we thinking as budget and economy as we can go and nobody will care? You know, what were you thinking? You got to have that conversation and see where they are. And that will kind of dictate which direction you're going to go with them. I'm sure you have all three types of families coming in all the time. And you're basically giving them, the nice way of saying, the people I talk to usually in one of three groups, you know, extravagant, money's no object, let's be practical, and let's spend as little as we can, except we want to make it less transactional and less abrasive because they're grieving. So we want to, just do it a little nicer. And once you've got a sense for which of the three groups they're in, then you can guide them to where you want, and they'll spend what they have to spend
Yeah.
to get what they
Thank
want.
you.
And I think we're at
Appreciate
the top of the hour, out of time. And I bow out here, Wayne.
Yeah, thanks. It's been awesome. Thanks for joining us. We really appreciate it. Thanks for all of you asking great questions too.
Yeah, you were a great group. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right,
Thank you, Dave. Great.
You're
go
welcome.
get them, everybody.
Yeah, thanks, Dave.
Bye.
Thank you so
Bye.
much.
so much.